Okay, guys, here comes the story. So, the story I want to tell you this week, like most of my stories, is about a young boy. Can you guess what his name is? Oh. Anybody got a guess? What the young boy's name was? How about? That's it. You guessed it. It's about Eric. So, Eric and his friends, they were going trick-or-treating. You know what trick-or-treating is, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's for getting candy.
That's right. So they were going around their neighborhood, and they were getting candy, and they were running so fast. They were so excited. That's all that was on their little kid brains was get candy, get candy, get candy. So they were just running and running. They went up to one house. They're like, should we go here? Like, oh, Mr. Wilson's house? And they're like, he's never home, so let's not go. And Eric's like, no, let's go up and see. The light's on. So they went up and they knocked. And they waited. And they waited. And the door didn't come. So Eric's friends ran off to go to the next house. And Eric turned around, and then he thought he heard something. He wasn't sure. He went to go with his friends. And then as he got to the sidewalk, he stopped, and he turned around, and he saw the door that was a little bit open. It was closing. And he thought, maybe he is home. And his friends were like, come on, we got to go. Let's go fast. And Eric's like, wait, let me go check. He went back and knocked again. This time, Mr. Wilson was at the door, and he opened it slowly. And he said, oh, you are home. And he said, well, it just takes me a long time to get to the door, but I'm really glad you came back because everyone else keeps running away before I can give them some candy. And so Eric's friends were waiting at the sidewalk, and he said, you know what, guys? He's like, why don't you guys go on ahead? I'm gonna stay here and help Mr. Wilson. And his friends are like, are you sure? You're gonna miss out on candy? And he's like, that's okay. So all night long he stayed there, and he would open the door for him, and he could give kids candy. And his friends, they came back at the end of the night, and they had a huge pile. And Eric had just a little bit. And they said, you missed out on all of this. And Eric's like, yeah, but I made a friend. And he's actually a really neat guy. He used to be a forest ranger. And he's got all these awesome stories about animals and forest fires. And he was telling me all these stories. He's like, so you got candy, but I got a friend. And Grayson, how many full-size candy bars do you think a friend is worth?
Like 100.
Yeah, well.
100 a million.
I think you're closer, yeah. I think a good friend is worth, like, way more than all the candy in the world. And he was trying to tell his friends this, and they didn't really understand. So the Christmas came along, and they were walking by and looking at all the awesome Christmas lights on the house. And they went by Mr. Wilson's house, and he didn't have any Christmas lights. And so they went up, knocked on the door. This time they waited a long time for him to answer. And they said, how come you don't have Christmas lights up? And he said, well, I haven't had Christmas lights up for years because it's too hard for me to get them up. And so what do you think Eric and all his friends did? They did. They helped him. And he had so many Christmas lights all over the house, and it was the best-looking house in the neighborhood. And they said, well, now I understand. Like, this was way more fun than giving a gift that we bought at a store. We actually helped him out. And now I understand what you mean about having a friend is the best thing. Way better than candy.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. And, it wouldn't have happened if Eric wasn't just paying attention and thinking, how can I help this person? Because sometimes all you have to do is just help a little bit, and you never know what amazing things can come out of just helping somebody, even if you don't know them very well. You can always be looking to help. All right, let's go back to our seats.